Welcome. Officially, I want to welcome you to the second edition of the webinar for the Asian American Pacific Islander Restaurant Advocacy Program. And this is our attempt to let the rest of the world know what we're doing and actually encourage you to participate. Just a quick introduction. George Moy, I'm a consultant with my partner, Jenny Lowe, to National ACE. We do mostly event planning and program design. And today we're going to focus on two programs. One is the HSS We Can Do This program, which is Jenny is going to talk about that. And I'll focus on the Asian American Restaurant Advocacy Program. But before we do that, we do have a couple of news for you. One is, unfortunately, Ms. Chilling Tong, who's on the agenda, CEO and president, it has a challenging schedule. So her message will be delivered by Ms. Grace Lee, who will be coming on second half of the program. Grace is the ACE board member. But we do have Daphne on video. Daphne Clark is the vice president of AARP. I just want to let you know, she's one of the folks who helped us design this program and provided some sponsorship. The program is really an effort to combine the advocacy from AARP perspective, from AAPI Age, in this case, API Restaurant of AARP Rage, and also ACE incredible partners who could provide sort of like a collaboration advocacy to support the restaurant to reach the level of success and overcome COVID-19 challenges. But without further ado, and I believe Emily has a video from Miss Daphne Clark.
We can do this. We can do this all together. AARP is so pleased to see the progress National ACE has made so far on the AAPI Strong Restaurant Advocacy Program. What a tremendous partnership with ACE, ACE Next Gen, and ACE MOU partners who have all pulled together to support this program. AARP's founder, Ethel Percy Andrus, stated the importance of to serve and not to be served. I want to especially commend and thank the volunteers from all across the country of the AAPI Strong Restaurant Advocacy Program who are utilizing their skills, especially their technical and social media skills, to help our older AAPI restaurateurs. My 6-year-old nephew proudly proclaims every day, teamwork is dream work. We can all pull together. Our AAPI small businesses, especially our restaurants, are one of our core business segments that most importantly brings us all together as immediate families, as neighborhoods, as communities, and as a society. There is so much rebuilding that is taking place. The digital divide is real for many AAPI restaurant owners and older adults. I'm so pleased to see that this program gets participants started in operating in the new and online restaurant operating environment. With attendees from more than 30 cities here today, we hope that you inform your AAPI restaurateurs about the information, resources, and assistance that National ACE's AAPI Strong Restaurant Advocacy Program is providing. Let's all support one another as we build back stronger than ever before. I know I have been eagerly looking forward to returning to my local DC area Asian American restaurants so that I can support the businesses who are supporting our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Daphne. Daphne is a good friend and an advocate for the Asian American community. So now I just want to share the agenda. Emily, you don't mind? Please post my slides. Next. Okay, first we have the introduction remark, and then I want to, next I'm going to introduce Ms. Jen Lowe, who's going to talk about what we are doing with a couple of programs and events for ACE. And then I'm going to give you a summary of what's happening with this program. And I invited our good friend Ian So, who's one of the volunteers, and from ACE Next Gen, with our collaborating partners, to talk about ACE Next Gen a little bit, and also share what kind of things that they are planning to help us with. And then Grace Lee, who has a structural conflict, so she'll come on in the second half of the program. We'll share with you more on what ACE is doing and as a board member. And also she's happened to be a president and CEO of her own consulting group, but she's also a volunteer for this program. And she's working as a volunteer and a liaison to Free Restaurant. And she's gonna share with you some of her challenges that she's facing as part of this program, but it's all good. But with that, I'm gonna ask Jenny, you wanna say a few words to welcome the folks and talk about what's happening?
Absolutely. You know, first of all, I want to thank all of you for joining. I see a lot of new names here, so I'm excited. That means our pool of volunteers, and I like to say the connectors and networking that's happening here is incredible and beyond, right? Of course, George, you have said, you know, want to thank Daphne and AARP for their continued support. What's great about National ACE is that we are always partnering with organizations that do amazing things. And today's webinar is made possible by one of our partners, which is Department of Health and Human Services, and that we can do this campaign. We want to take this moment to remind everyone that if you or your family members have not yet been vaccinated, please visit www.vaccines.gov to find a vaccination site closest to you. As restaurant owner, myself, and I know of our employees, it is important to take care of ourselves before we can take care of our customers as well. So that I want to mention, but I want to let everybody know that we are filtering, you know, getting questions, networking. So a reminder to put your questions by the chat. And without further ado, I'm going to kick this back to George and to our amazing speakers. So thank you.
Okay. Yes, I am kind of amazing, so I'll continue to speak. And I'm also very humble. Next slide, please. Sorry, I'm seeing this chat. Somebody saying hello to you. So since we got about 60-some folk registered last time, and we have volunteered to attend some of our meetings before. So there's I could understand what's happening among a lot of people, but I saw a lot of new registrants, new people on the program. I thought it would be good to give you a summary of what the heck are we doing. We call it the AARP program, we call it ACE program, but usually the content is providing advocacy to AAPI restaurant. And this is part of the National ACE AAPI Strong Initiative to support, in this case, we call mom and pop or small independent restaurant across the nation. As you know, ACE is national, to recover from COVID-19 and some of the socio-economic conditions that's very challenging for Asian American, not to again things up, and which is very important for most of us who are Asian American to realize that we're in a space where Asian American are being looked upon as reason for a lot of difficulty, yet we are not given opportunity to do what we normally do, in this case, serving customers. And this is supported by AARP, but most importantly, we have a lot of MOU partners within ACE who's stepping up and helping with this program. And the Oakland Chinatown Chamber, as you know, some of you were here last week. Jessica is here to help bring the Oakland Chinatown restaurant to the program. We're helping her to help. I think we identified 35 restaurants we're going to help in her chamber. Chinese Mutual Aid is also working to identify a restaurant in Chicago. And so we could help with them to help the restaurant in Chicago. We also have a Jenny, if you don't mind, just share this link in chat. Jenny had provided a lot of resources to set up a website. It's designed to help AAPI restaurants across the nation. And you see that most of our programs are defined and listed at aapi-restaurant.org. You'll also see a listing of, I think, up to 300 restaurants now, AAPI restaurants across the nations. And we will continue to promote these different restaurants. Actually, it's a nonprofit setting. But the program itself, the way we design it, definitely I talk about, is a way to bring the community together to help each other. And what we are looking for is really volunteers. And I will talk about what the volunteer will do. Mainly, we want them to help identify restaurants that might need help from us. And also continue to serve as a liaison to the restaurant. We recognize in the Asian American community, just because you have free services doesn't mean people will come to it. In fact, they would have to know you well enough before they even agree to work with you, even you're helping them. So we're looking for the liaisons. These are folks who identify a restaurant, but also potentially a good relationship with them. The liaison might not have the expertise to help them, which we will bring in the subject matter experts. Over the beginning of this program, around May, June timeframe, we have designed the program in a way we want to be almost very inclusive of challenges facing restaurant with finding resources. But to be honest, we kind of narrow it down to, with the help of Victor and some of the volunteers, kind of focus on the whole concept of how does a restaurant leverage online applications. And we realize that some of the older generation folks who operate a restaurant in a certain way really don't have access to information nor the expertise. So we're trying to bring the bridge, what some of folks call digital divide, between a restaurant owner who need to know and understand these online applications, how to utilize them, and then also how we could provide support for them. So that's the focus. Emily, next slide, please. What we have done so far up to this point is July heading into August. We have managed to crystallize our program with quite a few volunteers stepping in and offering suggestions, organization offering to help, and volunteer listing. And we managed to actually came up with about 10 volunteer, and I think Jenny, and I think we have about 48 restaurants nominated so far. So in the process of working through different restaurants, different liaisons, we are in discussion with the volunteer, and in fact, Grace, who's coming aboard a little later, will actually have many discussions right now with me and some of the volunteers on how to work with the restaurant that she identified, and she'll share some of the highlights and in fact some low life of the challenge facing working in the restaurant. And then we actually have Victor Loeb presented a really good summary of, if not 100%, a majority of the online application with the context of Asian American operation. So we will have a opportunity to go through that again in the future. But for now, just to trust me that we have a pretty good understanding in what are these applications, and we're going to help train the volunteer to help the restaurant. Next slide. Okay, what's the next step? We're in the process of working with the restaurant that's been identified, working with the volunteer that's been identified, working with experts. But we believe that we need a few more volunteers. We believe not every restaurant will utilize the service. The more the better within the context of our limitations. So if you're interested, you could be a volunteer. What does a volunteer mean? You could be nominating a restaurant, but we want to talk to restaurants that we have people with relationship. We just don't want to walk in and cold call restaurants and say, hey, we are the advocacy program. We're here to help you. We know that doesn't work. So, and we also need subject matter experts. I give you one example is that some website, the restaurant menu prices are out there on their website. And they're charging people money than what's described on the website. They create a lot of issues. And one of the volunteers said, hey, if I have the passport, I could minimally go update the prices. And then so that you don't have that discrepancy. But long term, there's no expectations that the volunteer will continue to update the website. So they would have to go get professional help if they don't know how to do it themselves. And we are actually working on, with Victor's help, we have a pretty good understanding of all these applications. So I'm actually working on a handbook that could be used as a basis for talking to restaurant owner, what are the challenges in operating in this online environment? And perhaps, I was telling Jessica, perhaps we could take this handbook and translate it into language that's meaningful for some of the folks, if appropriate. And then we want to connect the experts with the liaison to the restaurant. And we do have a very powerful website that we will put a lot of these instructions and handbook in it, so have basically free access to a restaurant who needs it. Okay. This is what it's going to look like. Is a little handbook that I put together, and it has all the technical element that's needed. But with that, I'm going to pause, and we will have later after Grace's conversation, we will have an opportunity for us to talk to every one of you, and actually have new ideas that might come out. I want to introduce some more new concepts that I think will be helpful, but we do need people to participate. And now I want to introduce Ian So, who's one of the first few volunteers. And when you heard about this program, he's actually part of the founder of ACE Next Gen. And I believe you're serving as a program director at the moment on ACE Next Gen. So Ian, you want to share with the rest of folks what ACE Next Gen, what is on your program, and how we could leverage your group to support this program. Thank you, Ian.
Sure. Let me drop my email if you guys need to reach me. It's acenextgen.org. As George mentioned, I own a food truck restaurant business called Chicken and Rice Guys up in Boston. And I also co-founded Ace Next Gen, which is the so-called next generation of entrepreneurs. We're apparently good at social media. I think that's an assumption, George. Social media is very challenging.
Yes.
And, but we do have experts in that industry. We have some marketing firms. We have restaurant owners. So we are going to bring our resources to this program and help out the different folks that need it. And so, that could just be as simple as helping them make changes on their website, maybe helping them get delivery going, advertising, starting an Instagram, Facebook, some simple things to help get the ball rolling for them. And then hopefully, maybe down the road, set them up for long-term success by either training some of their folks or finding the right people to do it for them.
Yeah, great. So Emily, is Grace on yet? Okay. So why don't you, can we get to the gallery view? Can we get to, let me see. Can you be on the lookout for Grace, and then we'll put her into the program. But in the meantime, I'm gonna kind of open up for a conversation. I do want to recognize a few folks here who's, well, I see Saran, one of ACE MOU partner. She's always in anything that we do. So I'm sure she has a lot of ideas that she could share. But I do also want to, yes.
George, can I just ask Ian about the Have You Eaten Yet campaign? I mean, is that still happening? Can you talk a bit about that, Ian?
Yes.
Yeah. For anyone that wants to highlight their restaurant on social media, just send me over pictures of your food, and we have special posts that we can do via our social media.
And what is this campaign, Ian? What is this Have You Eaten Yet campaign? Can you elaborate or drop the website?
It's purely going to be a promotional campaign. So we're going to highlight your food, the restaurant, send it over, and then we'll promote it to hopefully get more folks into your restaurant. And then let me find the website. It's on the National ACE website, and I'll drop it in the chat.
Yeah, so the idea is really to combine all the ACE program in one. So what we're hoping for is that once we have the restaurant identified in this program, we'll get ACE Nation to help promote it in this in that program. We'll also put it on the AAPI restaurant ORG to help promote them. But one of the things that kind of newly discovered for me is the ability for a restaurant who are successful, who are actually really good at looking at all these things we talked about so far, online app, both on social media, reservations, and delivery. They have the understanding of what it takes to work in this environment. And Mass, I'm going to put you on the spot for a minute. Mass Torito is attended our 7:15 webinar, had raised his hand and volunteered, and he didn't know what he was getting into. But beyond volunteer, and we actually identify him as a mentor because he and his family owns two successful Japanese restaurant in Denver. And one of the restaurant, Grace, is working with the Japanese restaurant. So we have talked offline. Mass, you want to share a little bit about your thoughts on how you could help?
Yeah, thank you, George. I think Ian, knows just as well as I do some of the most basic challenges, what things are important, what realities there are in the world, how important, for example, social media reviews are, correct listings, as you mentioned, George, on like Google Maps, and some basic connections of like decent business purveyors to use and third-party delivery apps. It's just different world than it was when my family started the restaurant 35 years ago. No doubt about it. Sometimes it's a small thing too, is like a POS system, which is like where you type in and punch in all your orders. A lot of the newer ones, you can have it be automated and have the customers put in their own order themselves. And sometimes you just need to let a restaurant know about it. And when they're short staffed, like all of us are, to be able to have a customer put in their own order or something like that is great. Or they have the opposite problem. They have some online platforms that offer to do orders and they're like, hey, wait a second, I didn't approve this and this is not the right representation of my business, or these prices aren't right. And there's just so many different people that are pointing to your restaurant in different ways. You have to know which ones are the right ones and which ones are the wrong ones. And sometimes just a couple hours can really help a restaurant out quite a bit. So I think there's a number of us who are happy to help, who don't need to use too much of our time. Some of the stuff can be one and done. It's not something that has to be an ongoing, consistent check-in. I mean, there's definitely some things that people need to do on the regular, but I think we can all offer some basic stuff that can help businesses out very quickly with just an hour or two of our time.
Yeah, what's very natural for some of your folks with the little iPhone, and you could do all this stuff within 20 minutes. But we are facing a generation of restaurant owner who are used to picking up the phone, answering, take the order, and then wait for somebody to show up. When they show up, you gotta be very nice to them, serve them, and then send them off, right?
Yeah.
And they're successful operating that way. In fact, they're successful in a way they have many of the next generation go to college and become who you are today, but they are not going into this direction. And unfortunately, what we're learning is this is the direction the industry is going. And unless you're coming with, you'll get left behind and you slowly become non-existent. So anyway, that's the idea of this program, is bring the two generation to world together and support each other. And I want to sincerely thank you for your willingness to kind of step in, and even I've talked to you, it seems like you're willing to do more, which is dangerous for you, by the way. As everybody knows, to work with George, that he doesn't stop. And Grace, I see you on the call. And I want to bring Grace up and introduce Grace Lee, my good friend. She's also the ACE board member, and who are gracious volunteer to share a few thoughts on what's happening with Grace on behalf of Chilling. And Grace has always been working with a few of us the last couple of weeks to help identify what would our restaurant she identify. She identified 3 restaurants in her area. And we have some challenges, but I think we're making progress, and she's gonna show us what she's doing. Grace, I'm gonna give you some time.
Okay. Well, first I have to do my National ACES Board of Directors
application.
Okay. Well, hi everyone. Sorry, I have another call, so I'm joined late. I'm Grace Lee. National ACE was founded in 2012. Its mission is to serve as a strong advocate of AAPI business interest and effect positive changes on issues that enhance and advance and goals and the aspirations of AAPI business owners, entrepreneurs, and corporate leaders. So National ACE strives to do this through supporting and promoting issues that impact the AAPI business communities, advancing coalitions and enhancing community building, and fostering the next generations of AAPI entrepreneurs and executives. For example, when the pandemic hit last year, National ACE launched Business Recovery and the Resiliency Initiative and Access to Capital and Funding Initiative. From March 2020 to November 2020, National ACE held 85 virtual training and webinars and reached approximately 8,000 business. And moreover, this year, National ACE launched AAPI Strong initiative, combating nationwide rises in AAPI bias, harassment, and violence in our business and AAPI small business across the country. Now, in addition, we continue to partner with organizations, promote vaccinations and initiatives such as Have You Eaten Yet? And We Can Do This. So thank you for your support for today's discussions and the initiative. Your compassion and advocacy is what makes us strong. Together, we'll overcome this challenge and striving forward. So thank you. So George, do you want to talk my part or you want me to come back?
You are on until you're done. So why don't you share with us, not necessarily all the details. I don't want to think people kind of what you've gone through in the beginning of the program, identify a restaurant, and what we've been doing to talk to the different restaurants, what some of the challenges. I mean, that's real. This is our community, and what we are doing next.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, when Jenny reached out to me and about this initiative, I thought it was a great idea, and so she asked me to recommend 3 restaurants that are small and not big restaurants with a lot of funding supporting in that. So I picked 3 restaurants I usually patron with. One in Chinese restaurant, one Japanese restaurants, and one Vietnamese owners, but then they serve American food. So when I talk to them, I find out there are some of the challenges probably universal for many of the AAPI restaurants. One is the website is not current. I think during the pandemic areas, everybody tried to survive. So some of those things they say we can wait, we can deal it later. But with the inflation, the labor, delivery costs, so their website, do not reflect the current prices. These are like a potential legal bound because they can, there's a legal term called bait and switch. And if we have somebody who have really mean spirit, they can come back and they'll have legal issues on their hands. And then also there'll be bad publicities on Yelp on their review for their restaurants. So when I talk to them, the website content, how to update them, it's urgent. And then when we dig a little bit deeper, we even find out some of the restaurants have multiple websites. The owner didn't know how do they have multiple websites. And then even the website or the Yelp, they have multiple menus. And, so the customers are confused, which one they use, which one's correct. So it's really impact the overall the restaurant's image and the customer satisfaction. Another challenge is they don't know how to increase their social media engagement. A couple of the restaurants, the Yelp pages are not claimed. And that's very dangerous because anybody can go in and claim it, and they can put any misinformation on there. Just some people have very bad intention. And the other thing is the delivery costs. The restaurant's owners understand that's one way to supply. They have to have the delivery services, but the delivery service they charge 25 to 30%, and which erode to their profits. And restaurant business, it's very cost competitive and conscious. So, they are trying to balance and struggle to survive. And they say they probably will cut back or even totally eliminate the delivery service once the business is back to normal. So those are probably some of the main challenges I see they have right now, just on the first layer. And I also kind of noticed some stuff besides the business side. It's very difficult for them to open up and share with their challenges. I think that's a cultural issue. We do not want other people understand what we're going through or the pain. We want to just hide. We don't want other people to help. I think as we move forward with this initiative, we have to think about how, what we do can, make them feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge. And I have a lot of experience providing free service from the government to a lot of API. And not you need only a mom and pops, a typical Asian American business at $50 million revenue. They really don't want to tell you their problem, even though they need all the help. So I think what we really need to do is, and we have, the program itself has evolved toward that, is work with people that the restaurant can trust. Right? When George would call these free restaurants, they probably say George is trying to hustle them for some money, even though that's not my intent. But when you call them, that they know that you genuinely want to help them. I think even that, they don't want to open up. But it's okay. We're not trying to force our service on people. We want, as part of this program, help them understand what challenges we could help them with. And if they choose not to, that's fine. We'll consider that they know what's happening, is their choice. And that's what my advice to a lot of folks who come to me and say, how can I help? Is that you have to understand what the people you're trying to help is coming from. Otherwise, we can't help them. So I really appreciate you spending the time. I know it's very difficult, even scheduling a Zoom call with them, right? With like Victor or other one too, because they've never been on Zoom. I make an assumption none of the people who we're gonna help is on this call. It's all the people who can help me get to them and actually help them is on this call. So, well, thank you, Grace. What I want to do is I just got a quick text from Emily. Emily, are you on somewhere? Yes, Emily is our ACE staff, and she actually want to share a little bit about another program with ACE called with Grubhub that has to do with restaurants. And this is where we are trying to kind of combine all these programs together in a meaningful way. But right now we have a lot of things going on. ACE is blessed with a lot of supporters. Emily, you got the floor for a few minutes to let people know what's happening.
Absolutely. So my name is Emily Feuder. I'm the Program and Marketing Manager at National ACE. And on Monday at noon Eastern Time, we are launching the AAPI Fund. It's the AAPI Restaurant Fund, and restaurants across the nation can apply for grants that will be $10,000. We'll be awarding 195 restaurants. So they've got a pretty good shot. And it is open nationwide. So criteria includes things like the restaurant must be at least 51% AAPI owned. It needs to be currently operating, And then another important one is it has to have been affected by COVID-19. So they would have had to have been in operation in 2019 and still in operation now. More details will be coming through from our chamber partners as well, but you're actually the first group to hear about this, so you have a little bit of an advantage.
Let's apply now.
Yes, we would love for you to apply. So in terms of the application, some things that you should tell restaurant owners to prepare for what they will need to show is their business license, just a copy of it. They're going to attach it to the application. And then we also will need them to verify that they can show a profit and loss from 2019 and 2020. Those documents will be confidential. We won't be sharing that with Grubhub or anyone else. It's just so that we can show that there really is a need and we want to get capital into these restaurants as quickly as possible.
And that's fantastic because part of the grant dollar, I assume, could be used to help update the website.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually are very busy with Ian to identify service company within our network that we could provide a service to them, and actually with a additional support on languages and stuff that is meaningful. So this is a fantastic announcement. Thank you very much. And we could look for combining the two in a meaningful way and get this moving. Okay.
I did see a question about it, about the link.
Yes.
So it's not live on our website yet because we don't have applications open yet. However, I will say that we are using a program called Submittable. I'm going to type that in the chat. In order to apply, you need to have an account. So the account is free. That's something that folks can do this weekend to prepare. And it will be a quick application. However, we're only accepting 100 applications per region. So it's the first 100. So we don't want people to sleep on this. We want them to be ready to go.
What's the region? How do you define a region?
They're a grouping of states typically close together. And
like
California,
East Coast, Midwest, US Coast.
it's a little bit more granular actually, because there's 15 regions.
15 regions, sounds good. So once we get that information, we'll share it with the restaurant that on our list today. And perhaps we have a volunteer and liaisons to work with them to help them understand what the ACE program is about. So thank you very much. Very timely. Well, I always love people who brings money.
Thanks, Emily, for sharing, because we were like, can we share it? Can we share it? So we were very, very excited. George, I
Yes.
know we have about 24 people here. Could we maybe open up the floor for those new ones that have joined the call? I just want this to be more like an information sharing. Now that we have Grace on, Maz is great, Cervantes has joined us, and our open chambers with Francis and Jessica online, that we really do have subject matter experts in here that folks, if you want to open up for questions, Q&As, yes. What do you think? And show your faces, please.
That's the agenda. You don't get to talk unless you show your face. That's all.
That's right.
Yes, you're perfect timing, and this is where we serve about 20 minutes for conversation, and so.
No, what about Jason and Chris? Thanks for showing your faces.
Hey, hi, I'm Chris. I'm in DC area. I was actually born and raised in Malaysia, so I speak quite a few languages. I was brought here by an acquaintance, a friend like Cervantes, who's also here as well. We know us through a business meeting, because my background, of course, is Asian. And he said, hey, we're doing something great. It has something to do with your business line, but it's also doing good for the Asian community. We do IT solutions. So, just a quick introduction of myself.
Sounds great. And we'll look for you to serve as a volunteer. I posted in the chat how to volunteer, and Cervantes has already been very helpful in creating and helping us with the handbook. We were looking for volunteers who have a relationship with restaurant. We're also a subject matter expert. Now, just give you an example. You might be willing to help restaurant XYZ to solve their yolk problem. I don't really expect you to help 50 restaurants, but we might be able to match you with 1 or 2 restaurants that you could contact, and especially you are language capable, then we'll connect you with people who might need some extra help with those languages. But I just need to know who you are. If you fill out the volunteer form, and Jenny will give it to us, and then we'll kind of match you that way.
Sure.
And Chris, you immediately in because you're Malaysian.
Yeah, there's something about Malaysians in this call. I don't know that Victor Lowe is also Malaysians.
We're starting a Malaysian club after this. So thank you. Yes.
Okay, good deal. Good deal.
Jason.
I like Malaysian food.
Let's call him Jason.
And take you to some nice Malaysian restaurant. I know a lot of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah. This is Jason. I'm with Chris. So Chris and I and a few other friends. We actually started a company during the pandemic. We're IT guys, so providing IT solutions to the restaurants to solve the problems you're talking about today, like social media, online ordering stuff. So yeah, we met with Cervantes, and he introduced us to this group, and we would like to help whenever we can.
And this is exactly what we're talking about, bringing this community together. And practically, I really don't expect you and your company or everyone to provide free service to all. But if you're willing to do it for a few, and we'll make sure that that is what is known, and then we'll even include your information on restaurant.org so other people get to you. And then I have a list of service companies that I'm creating, and we'll make sure you put it in there. So just have to list what expertise that you have.
Right.
Great.
So thank you, Josh. So I was gonna add to Jason. So we sincerely want to help. Of course, like what you're saying, people who are willing to get our help, we want to. But at a minimum, we want to share some of the technology knowledge that we know. We talk about social media. I know some people do their social media, some people don't. But they don't even know that if they do some posting on Facebook, they could actually add an order tab on Facebook without having to rely on their website, without having to rely on third party. So as they do their Facebook posting, hey, a curry noodle, like Malaysian curry noodle, someone could actually just click on the order link without having to go to third party and come into their POS system. Little things.
And Chris, Sue-Ann Hong, I'm going to call out Sue-Ann too. She and I were just having a conversation about possibly doing some videos as well too that would be helpful, right? Because if people can't, participate in these webinars, then we could probably do something like that. So maybe I can connect Sue-Ann and Chris and Jason and Cervantes. We can do something like this together, George. So we'll take that offline. I like that.
That's what we're talking about.
Cool. Claudia, I see Claudia, Lynn. Hi, Claudia.
Hi, everyone. This is Claudia. Nice to meet you all. I believe it must be Cervantes that also connect me to this group. I hadn't participated before, but nice to meet you all. I have two roles. One of my bigger role is I lead the Asia practice for Hub International, which is an insurance risk management company. Some of my clients and in my some years of experience included some of the fast food chains like Yum Brands in China, some of the clients that are larger, but also for some boutique, smaller chains. My second hat is really near and dear to my heart, which is a company I founded called Legacy Maker. And some of the mission is to help the AAPI community in bringing the resources to the community, whether it be hospitality or other industries, so that the revenue generated is going back to the causes. So that's why I'm interested in perhaps learning more about you and how I can be a resource to you. And hopefully we can, bring everyone's resource together and help each other.
Fantastic. I think you and Jenny should talk about the restaurant.org that we're trying to create, which is providing free services to restaurants across the nations. And that's a great place for you to start.
Thank you.
Great. We have 7 more minutes, 8 more minutes. Speak up, please. Your great idea. I know every time you speak up, you get more work from George. And oh, by the way, before I forget, I want to congratulate Cervantes since his name is mentioned 3 or 4 times by now. I believe you just officially graduated and you're now, put the face mask down. You are a PhD. We have to call you Dr. Lee. Is that the idea?
Yeah, I just finished my doctoral dissertation at USC. And right now I'm actually at USC Library. We have a sound event here. So I was a little late, but thank you so much for George.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so happy my friend can join Jason and Chris. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for bringing your network. And one of the things that I'm asking Dr. Lee to do is take my handbook and put big words in them. So you guys think it's very important. So it looks like a official document. All right, thank you. Other folks who want to speak up? I know you spend the time joining this program, wanting to help. Might as well speak up, but you guys show your face. Let's see who other faces we have. And I want to recognize Jessica Chen, Oakland Chamber, but you talked last time already. Won't give you more time. What other folks? Lisa Gray, you just listening, spying on us. Long Sue, I know you are on lunch break. You do not even know, your company don't even know you're listening, so I won't ask you. Richard Lamb. Oh, there is Richard Lamb.
Hi everyone.
No hiding, there's no hiding. So what's up? How could you help me?
Good to everyone. No, I was shared actually this information from an internal colleague. So I work at Beam Suntory. I actually moved to the States about a month ago. But I am a new global director for data and analytics. So I'm
I don't even know what that means. Jenny, do you know what that means?
It's I think just listening what Chris was saying, what Claudia was saying, even George, what you were saying, right? I think socials are pretty, I would say, foreign, if not a generational divide of how it's used. I think there's a lot of, let's say, data that can be, that can help that conversation, right? Or I mean, I mean, generally speaking, I think if I'm, stereotyping here, right? Our community generally likes to see facts, right? Or numbers. And I think if that's
depends.
Help that,
depends on who.
Yeah, it depends on who. But if it helps, then I'm glad to be here. But it's a lot of, let's say, listening in, see how I can potentially help from a professional point of view, but also a personal point of view.
Yeah. So here's my thoughts on this. Everyone on the call can help in some way. So whether you have the time or willingness, and how we could leverage your expertise. So the best thing I could do and offer to you is I just posted a website on restaurant.org, AAPI restaurant.org, that you can actually volunteer and say, here's who I am, here's how I can help. And then I go through it and make the connection outside this meeting, okay? And I do appreciate, and actually, I'm going to be 68 pretty soon, but it really warms my heart to know that the young folks like you are willing to help us older folks. So anyway, I see one more face that's active. Melvin?
Hi.
Reyes?
Yes.
Filipino?
Yes, Filipino.
Malaysians?
Filipino.
Okay, I just thought maybe they're another Malaysian.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were going to recruit you, Reyes. We were going to recruit you to the Malaysian club, but now you're out.
So I'm based out of Cleveland, Ohio. I am a restaurant tech consultant. So I used to run 50 restaurants here, all director of IT. Right now I help 300 restaurants, so New York, Chicago, and Cleveland. And then I've worked with special projects for Cheesecake Factory, Qdoba, some of the larger chains. So one of the biggest focuses that I have is utilizing all the vendors that I work with to help small, medium businesses. So pay at the table, online ordering, third-party delivery. I'm able to do all of that. So for me, I signed up to be a volunteer. So I have a lot of resources that I can use to help all these other restaurant groups.
Make sure, Jenny, you get this name to me and an address. So the idea really is that, while we are talking about all these long spectrums of online application, for a lot of the business owner is, I'm not spending all my money on these things, right? They don't understand the whole thing. So it's the idea, how do you communicate everything you know to a restaurant owner who are still living and working in this old world, right? So that's really a trick. That's really a trick. And I saw a stack of presentation from Dr. Lee. I said, Dr. Actually, I don't even understand what that is. How am I going to explain to the restaurant owner? So we have to find a way to communicate to them in a meaningful way in language they understand, right? So that's also a trick. And that's generally also a generation divide. That us, we go to technology school and then we learn all these fancy words and forgot how to teach that to the people who understand it. Anyway, let me see who else we got on the call before we wrap up. Jenny, you have anybody you want to recognize?
Well, Jackie De Hoya from Vegas, but I think she's kind of shy. Jackie, you still on?
Sure, I'm here. Hold on.
There she is.
You're
shy like me, huh?
Sorry, I wasn't trying to hide. I keep getting up from my desk, but here I am. I'm listening in. So nice to meet everyone. My name is Jackie De Hoya. My husband is a major partner of Fuku Burger.
Oh.
And Johnny and I are all over Las Vegas with businesses and other organizations that we're involved in. That's how I know her. But I'm really enjoying what I'm hearing here. And I hope to pass the word out to the rest of the Fuku Burger partners, and hopefully they can be participate more in this organization.
Yeah, there's a way for everyone to support this program, because this program is not about us, the program is about the community in some way. So there are things we don't do here. Like somebody was talking about POS. I wasn't thinking about POS. But if there's a way we could communicate what's the most effective way to do POS, we'll find a way to do it.
And Jackie, I'm going to put you and maybe Arthur on the spot too. And I want you guys to know, if you're in Vegas, you have to stop by Fuku Burger. They're AAPI owned, and I'm so excited that they actually got themselves into the Allegiant Stadium for our Raiders, right?
Nice.
So we should have them on to say, how do we get from one? It started as a food truck, right, Jackie?
Exactly.
So now it's in in restaurants, couple locations, and inside the Allegiant Stadium, which is to me, I think just amazing, right? So love to have them in here again. I know we're starting from the mom and pop little thing, just trying to get the website going, but I think the talent's here to saying that, hey, we are AAPI strong and we are going to get this. So thank you, Jackie, for joining.
Thank you for having me. And yes, in regards to that, participating in this group, it's like, how do we help each other?
Yeah,
you know, pass the knowledge around to everyone so we can all move forward.
Yeah, so the program itself within ACE with ARP is made for October, but our restaurant ORG will continue. So there are things that we can finish with this program, assuming we might be able to continue more ARP funding, but within the AAPI restaurant ORG, I think Jenny has a plan that allow flexibility and bring in expertise, sponsorship to do more for the community. So this is not just a one-time thing, right?
George.
We will see you on August 10th, and I'll contact you via email to get you working. You might regret ever knowing George.
Mas, did you have a question?
I just wanted to say real quick, you know, when I'm a restaurant operator, I'm like, who can I talk to help me? Oh, with marketing. Oh, wait, we got one of those guys in there. I'm like, oh, I need some IT help. Oh, we got Melvin here. Who do we talk to? I mean, we have the resources here just in this one room, you know. Oh, franchising. Oh, who do we talk to? You know, we've got everyone in this room here to kind of cover a lot of the basics. I think language might be a challenge for some of us, how to get, you know, help out to one another. But, you know, we've got accounting, we've got all of the stuff that I think we've got a lot of tools that we can do a lot of great things for restaurants. And I'm really excited about that. So I wanted to say thank you to everyone else who's here.
All right, thanks, Mas. He could be our promotion manager.
I know, we didn't even pay him for that. Awesome. Thank you all.